Do you want to control the battlefield? Do you want to do over 10,000 damage with a single shot? Or do you just want to delete bosses in 1 second flat? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then this is the Cyberpunk 2077 build for you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your time in Min-Maxer's paradise. For this build, we'll be using a cyberdeck with sniper rifles. For our attributes, we want to start by maxing out intelligence and cool, then body, before leveling reflexes to 15 for a perk we want. And we'll put the rest into tech for the small armor boost we get from doing so. As for intelligence perks, we'll be picking up basically everything. Starting on the left, we want to pick up Eye in the Sky, which leads to hack Q. As the name implies, this allows us to queue more than one quick hack at a time for them to upload in that order. Feedback Loop increases our RAM recovery rate when we queue Quickhacks. Data Recycler gives us RAM back if we neutralize an enemy with Quickhacks still in the queue. And Counter a Hack and Copy and Paste together allow us to hack an enemy Netrunner back when they target us, and spread the Quickhack we use against them to their allies. And the best part is we can do this through cover. Eventually we want to pick up Q Acceleration, which gives us a few great boosts to our net running. The most notable of which is increasing our Q size to 3. We can skip Finisher Livewire. Though we will be running a monowire in this build, we ideally won't be getting close enough to use it very often, making this perk not worth it for us. Q Prioritization boosts the upload speed of the first quick hack when we queue at least 2. And Q Hack Route gives us a RAM discount each time we queue a quick hack from a unique category after the first quick hack in the queue. The categories are Covert, Combat, Control, and Ultimate. So we'll want to mix each of these into our queue when possible to save RAM. The capstone for this perk tree is Q Mastery, which increases our queue size to 4. It also reduces the RAM cost for the last hack in the queue and increases our damage against enemies with a full queue. We won't pick up Warning Explosion Hazard as it's a bit too situational for this perk heavy build. And Force Kill Cypher only needs to be equipped right before we hack an access point. In the middle we have Optimization, which very simply increases our RAM recovery rate, making this a no-brainer for the early game. And we want the Subordination perk, which extends the duration of our control quick hacks, which we'll be using all the time with this build to get those crazy damage numbers. We won't take Proximate Propagation. We're a glass cannon Netrunner, so if we're close enough for this perk to matter, that's a problem we need to solve very quickly. And Encryption works better on a stealth build, which we are not. Embedded Exploit is an incredible boost to our quick hack damage. It gives us an additional 60% damage against enemies affected by Control, Covert, or the Distract enemy's quick hack. So queuing a combat quick hack after a Control or Covert quick hack is a great way to maximize damage. Ice Pick reduces the RAM cost of the combat quick hack when we do so. Speculation returns RAM to us when we take out an enemy with a combat quick hack. 25% for the total cost of all quick hacks affecting that enemy. Like Q Hack Route, System Overwhelm incentivizes us to mix things up in our queues, this time increasing our quick hack damage for each unique hack or damage over time effect we have on the target. We won't need Shadowrunner since, as the name implies, it, like Encryption, is better for stealthy runners. Though not a priority, we'll still pick up Siphon. As I mentioned, we won't be getting near our enemies much, but in those dire circumstances where you're surrounded by enemies and low on RAM, being able to regen RAM each time you hit with a monowire is not a bad thing to have in your back pocket. Overclock is where we start seeing the true power of Netrunners. It allows us to activate our cyberdeck, similar to how we activate our Berserk or Sandevistan. While Overclock is active, our health turns into RAM we can use for our quick hacks. 1 RAM for every 10 health. Power Surge turns Overclock into a heal effect, giving us more RAM to work with when we activate Overclock while our health is low. Rage Against the Mind increases our quick hack damage the lower our health is at the time of upload. This will play a huge part in our Nova quick hack damage, as you'll see later in this video. When we're in Overclock mode, Sublimation allows all of the RAM regen we have in this build to heal us as well. Plus, Blood Demon will give us more health for each quick hack still queued on an enemy when we neutralize them. And Spillover gives a chance for our quick hacks to spread to another enemy, allowing us to apply battlefield control more efficiently. On the right, let's select Acquisition Specialist, which improves the smart targeting of the smart weapon we'll use in this build. Most notably preventing reloading, which we'll be doing a lot of, from breaking target lock, as well as increasing the lock-on speed to 20% while aiming. Precision subroutines reduces the greatest weakness of our smart sniper rifle, which shoots only one round before it needs reloading, making missed shots even more detrimental to us. But with this perk, we increase our accuracy by 2% for each unit in our cyberdeck's max RAM. So when we're higher level and have a top tier cyberdeck, this will mean we rarely ever miss. Recirculation regens RAM when we defeat an enemy with a smart weapon, giving us even more back if the enemy was under the effect of our Quickhacks. Target lock transfer boosts our smart targeting further and leads us to terminal velocity, which increases our smart weapon's projectile velocity and lock-on range for each enemy we eliminate with it, stacking up to 3 times. And eventually, we'll get smart synergy, which straight up gives us 25% extra damage with smart weapons while overclock is active, as well as making target lock instantaneous. You'll notice we avoided targeting prism, which simply doesn't work with our smart sniper rifle, which is limited to only 1 target per shot, and no escape, which resets target lock on an enemy when we shoot them. But if we're playing correctly, we should take out everything in only 1 shot, so we won't need this. Last but not least, we have Car Hacker, which is insanely powerful in vehicle-based missions and encounters, but not useful if there are no vehicles around to hack, so I'd only select this when needed. Whew, that was a lot of perks. Moving on to cool. We'll need these perks on the left for our sniper rifles, with focus being a priority as it unlocks focus mode, which is active when we aim at full stamina. This turns our stamina bar green and prevents stamina loss from shooting for 2.5 seconds, or until you stop aiming, costing us 40 stamina when it ends. While focus mode is active, each time we take out an enemy, head-to-head increases its duration, and no sweat decreases the stamina cost. But because we have to reload, ending focus after every shot with our main weapon, these 2 perks will be more effective with our sidearms, which we'll go over later in this video. Deep breath slows time while focus mode is active. Again, this is more useful with our sidearm, as it can help us line up accurate headshots. We won't be shooting a lot of grenades out of the air, so we'll avoid pull. And next up is Deadeye, which unlocks Deadeye mode. This is active when our stamina is above 85%, giving us a few buffs, the most notable of which is a 20% boost to headshot damage. Longshot ensures you do full damage when Deadeye is active, even if you're far away from your target. Quick Draw increases our weapon swap speed and gives us stamina when we swap during combat. High Noon boosts our reload speed after defeating an enemy while Deadeye is active. And given how often we'll be reloading, I want to say this is worth picking up for this build. I'm just not a big fan of the time slow while reloading, but if you don't mind that and have a perk point to burn, pick it up. And at the very top we have Nerves of Tungsten Steel, which turns every one of our sniper headshots into crits as long as Deadeye is active. And it gives us more damage the further away we are from our target. We won't use pistols in this build, so no need to pick up Run and Gun. For body, we'll pick up the standard health regen perks in the middle, making Adrenaline Rush a priority, as it creates an extra health bar that can absorb damage whenever we use Blood Pump or health items. And let's also get Juggernaut, which increases damage while Adrenaline Rush is active. We'll steer clear of the Situational Unstoppable Force, and Army of One, which is for melee builds, which we definitely are not. For reflexes, we want most of the mobility perks in the middle. Multitasker and Muscle Memory are essential for any firearm build, keeping shooting and reloading from impeding our mobility. We'll also unlock Dash, which is a better version of dodging. Steady Grip lets us shoot while dashing, and Can't Touch This increases our tankiness when we dash. And the reason we put 15 into reflexes is because we want Air Dash, which will be a vital part of our survivability when we need to create distance between us and our enemies. And Aerial Acrobat increases the distance of our air dash. As for what we didn't take, Power Slide and Parkour are situational, Mad Dash is better for melee builds, and while Mean Streak and Aerodynamic are both good choices, because we spent so many perk points already, we have to make cuts somewhere. Now, as powerful as tech perks are, Air Dash is just too crucial to staying alive with this build, so we had to put less points into tech. But we still want to pick up the entry-level health item perks you see here. For our relic perks, let's go with Emergency Cloaking. I've said it before, we're not a stealth build, but we are squishy, so being able to dip out of combat when things get dicey can definitely save you from being zeroed. As for Vulnerability Analytics and Machine Learning, these are normally great perks, but our Smart Sniper Rifle will sometimes prioritize targeting weak spots from Vulnerability Analytics instead of the all-important headshots, thus dealing less damage. So we're better off only equipping these perks when we know we'll be facing mechanical enemies that are immune to headshots anyway. Jailbreak unlocks a controlled quick hack slot for our monowire. We can upload that quick hack with charged heavy attacks. And data tunneling allows us to spread the quick hack to different enemies with subsequent monowire attacks. For our OS, we're going with what is arguably the best cyberdeck in the game, the Tetratronic Rippler. This thing gives us plus 15% weapon damage on enemies affected by non-combat quick hacks. It also gives us plus 40% quick hack damage with combat quick hacks when immediately followed by a non-combat quick hack in the queue. This will help us one-shot bosses with quick hacks. More on that later. The Rippler also gives us a whopping 12 additional RAM, pairing well with precision subroutines, increasing our smart weapons accuracy. And to top it all off, when activating overclock, this thing automatically uploads reboot optics and weapon glitch on enemies within 8 meters. This cyberdeck is an absolute beast. X-Disc boosts our max RAM even further and increases our upload speed. Memory boost gives us more RAM back when we neutralize enemies, along with increasing our max RAM by 1. But we might want to swap this out for self-ice for the final boss fight of the game. The COX2 Cybersomatic Optimizer actually reduces our max RAM by 4, which sucks, but the trade-off is more than worth it. It not only allows our quick hacks to crit, it guarantees it. This can be found at Dogtown airdrops and Ripper docks. Until we get to Dogtown, we'll just use the best bioconductor we can find. Again, we won't be using monowire much, but it's better to have it when you need it. For this build, I'd say Reboot Optics is the best choice for our monowire quick hack, as it boosts headshot damage on top of blinding enemies, making it difficult for them to hit you. But Cripple Movement is not a bad choice to lock enemies into place before you dash away. We'll use the basic Hiroshis for the headshot damage boost and low cyberware cost. Smart Link is necessary to use our smart weapons effectively, but it also boosts target lock duration, smart weapon crit damage, and our max RAM. RAM Recoup gives us a bit of RAM back when we take damage. Fiend X increases RAM regen immensely when we're low on RAM. And don't forget, when we're in overclock mode, all this RAM regen heals us as well, thanks to Sublimation. Korenzikov goes on almost all my builds. It slows time when we slide, dodge, or dash while aiming, pairing better with our non-smart sniper rifles that require precise shots. Adrenaline Converter gives us extra movement speed when we enter combat, which plays into a strategy we'll go over later in this video. Reflex Tuner slows time when our health drops below 25%, which gives us some extra time to do what we need to survive, be that healing, air dashing away, or both. Blood Pump is the best health item in the game, healing you the most and not requiring an animation. If you're playing on very hard difficulty, a stray bullet or two can flatline you in an instant, especially with this build. Second Heart gets you back to full health and on your feet when that happens. But with its lengthy cooldown, don't rely on it too often. We'll take Heal on Kill because we need all the health we can get. Reinforced Tendons pairs nicely with Air Dash. Counter Shell makes us a bit tankier immediately after we lose 35% health within 3 seconds. We'll need Optical Camo for the aforementioned Emergency Cloaking. It's also worth noting, due to the final boss's high quick hack resistance and immunity to headshots for most of the fight, using Emergency Cloaking to get a couple stealth takedowns is the most efficient way to defeat the final boss with this build. And lastly, Range Guard gives us a lot of armor when we have no enemies within 6 meters, which should be most of the time. This will be our primary loadout for our cyberdeck. Ping is an untraceable covert quick hack that highlights enemies and devices. You can also upload it to a device at a discount thanks to level 2 of Q acceleration. Ping also increases the lock-on speed of our smart weapons by 25% against pinged enemies. The iconic Cyberware malfunction disables enemy cyberware and increases all damage against them by 15%, stacking up to 8 times. Iconic quick hacks can be found by hacking access points after hitting level 50 or so. Next is Reboot Optics, the bread and butter of this build. The iconic version gives us 30% extra damage with headshots against targets affected by this quick hack. It also has the added benefit of giving us back 3 RAM and uploading this quick hack to a nearby enemy whenever we take out someone affected by it with a headshot or weak spot hit. System Collapse isn't the most RAM efficient way to neutralize an enemy in stealth, but it will be an important part of our boss strategy, which we'll go over in the gameplay chapter of this video. However, you might want to swap this out for Detonate Grenade before facing the final boss. This hack can knock out half of that boss's health with one upload. Short Circuit is a great way to deal with mechanical enemies and can be queued after one or more Cyberware malfunctions to get even better damage. Cripple Movement, as we saw earlier, can keep enemies at bay. Synapse Burnout can deal massive damage and adds additional damage based on the RAM currently spent. And when Overclock is active, it deals even more damage and extends Overclock's duration. And finally, we have Overheat, a decent damage over time quick hack that melts enemy armor. We can add this to a queue when targeting highly armored skull enemies. Our primary weapon will be the Ashura, a smart sniper rifle with solid base damage and 25% armor penetration. As mentioned, it only fires one round before we need to reload it, but when coupled with our quick hacks, the damage this thing can do is pure madness. Because this is a non-iconic weapon, we will be using mods. The one I recommend is Headhopper, which does 3 things. It normally increases the number of targets we can lock onto, but of course, that doesn't work with this weapon. It does further increase our lock-on speed, and most importantly, it boosts our headshot damage by 20%. And because weapon mods stack, that's a 40% increase to our damage with 2 of these things. You can find the crafting spec for this gun at the downtown weapon vendor. And you can find the Headhopper mods at weapon vendors throughout the game once you reach level 40. I found mine here, near the Sunset Motel in the Badlands. Just remember, if what you're looking for doesn't show up at a vendor, skip time and check again until it does. The Nekomata will be our secondary weapon. This tech sniper rifle can hold up to 4 rounds. It has okay base damage, but a 300% headshot damage multiplier. It can also shoot through walls and other cover with charged shots. So when you ping your enemies, you can shoot them all from relative safety. We'll use the Wallpuncher mod for this, which we can craft using the Chimera core, which we will pick up relatively early on in Phantom Liberty. This allows you to charge the weapon up to 200% without increasing the charge time. It also lets you ignore enemies' armor, and removes the damage penalty from shooting through cover. You can find the Nekomata at various weapon vendors. I procured mine from Sophia at the stadium in Dogtown. But until we get the Chimera core, I'd rock with Breakthrough. This iconic Nekomata has very similar stats to the non-iconic version, but it also has an iconic feature that allows uncharged shots to penetrate cover. It still suffers from the damage penalty when doing so, but at least it comes with 100% armor penetration. The crafting spec can be found here at a suspected organized crime in Rancho Coronado. For the final weapon slot, let's go with Osprey. This iconic power sniper rifle has a 200% headshot multiplier and 50% armor penetration. It's a heavy weapon, reducing our mobility, so I wouldn't use it all the time. But it does have a much faster fire rate than the other snipers we'll be using, and it shoots explosive rounds. On top of that, once you take out enough enemies with this thing, rounds can cause burning. And when you set enemies on fire while they're under the effects of a tier 4 or higher contagion, it procs an explosion, dealing massive damage. So replace Overheat with Contagion if you want to lean into that playstyle. You can find this weapon during or after the Birds with Broken Wings quest. Here in Dogtown. Now let's see how this build performs, shall we? For this build, we'll start by activating Overclock. Next, we'll upload Reboot Optics for control. Then, we start shooting, taking out enemies in one shot, and spreading Reboot Optics as we do so. For skull enemies, upload either Cyberware Malfunction or Overheat to ensure we can one-shot them. If we come across a bunched up group of enemies, we can run towards them, activate Overclock, uploading Reboot Optics and Weapon Glitch at no RAM cost. Then dash away and start one-shotting them. For boss battles, we want to activate Overclock and sandwich Synapse Burnout between two non-combat quick hacks and use up as much RAM as possible to maximize damage. So start the queue with Cyberware Malfunction, then Synapse Burnout, and then the costly System Collapse twice. And don't blink or you'll miss the boss being deleted. But if you want to throw Ashura into the mix, add Reboot Optics to the queue to get that Nova headshot damage. So that, chooms, was the deleter build for Cyberpunk 2077. Give it a try for yourself. And if you enjoyed what you saw here today, please like, comment, and subscribe to MinMaxer's Paradise, the place for build guides for your favorite role-playing video games. Thanks for watching. Till next time.